When you should have been working on that important project, have you ever found yourself looking at a blank screen, going through social media, or cleaning your desk? You're not by yourself. We all have trouble with procrastination. It steals our time, energy, and potential without us even realizing it. But why do we do it? When we put things off until the last minute, what's going on in our minds? What's more, how can we break out of this habit of hurting ourselves? In this video, we'll look at the psychology behind putting things off, including what causes it, the different kinds, and the strange ways it changes our lives. We'll look into the science behind why we put things off, from the fear of failing to the desire for quick gratification. This video is for people like you, who constantly put things off or just sometimes have trouble getting tasks done. Get ready to learn how to stop putting things off and reach your full potential. Let's begin. Procrastination is putting things off even though they might go wrong if you do them right away. It happens to a lot of people and is often linked to sadness, low self-esteem, guilt, and feelings of not being good enough. But it can also be the right thing to do when someone makes you do something that could lead to bad or risky results, or when you need to wait for new information. Students from Western and non-Western countries put off doing their work for different reasons. Western students put things off because they don't want to do worse or not learn as much as they should. Non-Western students, on the other hand, put things off because they don't want to look stupid or not smart in front of their peers. Different cultural views on time management can affect procrastination. For example, cultures that see time as multi-active put more value on doing a job correctly, while cultures that see time as linear give a task a certain amount of time and stop when that time is up. Researchers who looked at how pigeons behaved when they were given delayed satisfaction found that putting things off is not just a human trait, but can also be seen in some other animals. Pigeons would rather do hard jobs that take longer than simple ones that they can do quickly. Philosophers, psychologists, and behavioral economists have all looked into the problem of putting things off. A study from 1984 at the University of Vermont showed that 46% of students put off writing papers, 30% put off exams, and 30% put off reading assignments that are due every week. A quarter of the students said they put off doing the same chores for too long. 65% of students said they wanted to stop putting off writing papers, 62% said they wanted to stop putting off exams, and 55% said they wanted to stop putting off reading tasks every week. A study done in 1992 found that 52% of students had a modest to high need for help with putting things off. A study from 1984 found that 50% of students consistently put things off and saw it as a big problem in their lives. A study from 2004 found that 70% of college students thought they were procrastinators. Researchers found that people put things off more when they thought the jobs were unpleasant or were being forced on them, rather than when they thought they didn't have the skills to do them. A study in the journal State of the Art found that workers' procrastination habits are affected by a number of factors, such as how important they think their company is and how they feel about management decisions. The pleasure principle may affect procrastination because people may want to avoid bad feelings by putting off doing things that are difficult. Cognitive problems may also cause people to put things off, since they get more stressed out as dates get closer. Some psychologists say that worry is a way for people to deal with putting things off, and that anxiety can make people work early or late. When you put things off, your negative coping reactions are more likely to be avoidant or emotional than task-oriented or problem-solving focused. Impulsive procrastinators are drawn to these strategies because they give them instant pleasure and help them set goals that they can reach. Avoidance, denial, and trivialization, distraction, downward counterfactuality, validation, blaming, and mocking are all ways to deal with stress. Task or problem-solving strategies are hard for people who put things off, but they are necessary to change behavior or situations in order to stop or lessen delay from happening again. Neuroticism and putting things off don't have any direct ties. Any link is completely mediated by conscientiousness. As early as 1982, some people thought that putting things off until the very last minute wasn't really procrastination if there was a good reason to think that they would only take that moment. In 2001, Piers Steele et al. Said that acts must be put off, and this putting off must be due to bad, inadequate, or inefficient planning. Undergraduate students who put off doing their work are more likely to have performance avoidance orientation, which is one of the 4 factors that make up success orientation. When it comes to school, students who have performance avoidance orientations worry about how they compare to their peers and put things off to avoid looking like they can't do them. Because they are so similar to students' cultural beliefs and ideals, cultural traits have a direct effect on achievement orientation. Students from the West are more likely to be motivated by a mastery approach orientation because Western society places a high value on individual achievement. Most students from Eastern countries, on the other hand, are performance avoidance oriented, which means they try to keep a positive view of their skills. In countries other than the West, people want to make friends and fit in with groups that are similar to them in different kinds. Sushila Nile's research in 1998 showed that Australian students usually wanted to achieve more personal goals, while Sri Lankan students usually wanted to achieve more group and society goals. Kwoshu Young and Anbang Yu's studies from 1987, 1988, and 1990 show that for most Chinese and Japanese students, making sure they meet their family obligations is a better measure of their own success than their own accomplishments. Because they stress working together in the family and society, collectivism and Confucianism are powerful ways to push people to do their best in many non-Western cultures. Procrastination is a normal behavior that can help you figure out what to do first, but doing it too much can cause health problems, stress, worry, guilt, less work getting done, and social rejection. For some people, putting things off can become a long-term problem that makes it hard to get help and causes social stigmas. Scientists who study the physical causes of putting things off have mostly looked at the prefrontal cortex. This part of the brain controls executive functions like planning, controlling impulses, and paying attention. Damage or low activity in this area can make it harder to avoid distractions, which can make it harder to stay on task, lose focus, and put things off. A study from the US in 2014 found that putting things off and acting without thinking are relatively inherited, but not due to unique genetic factors. The study confirmed 3 ideas from the evolutionary theory that impulsivity led to procrastination. A. Procrastination is inherited. B. Impulsivity and procrastination share a lot of genetic variation. And C. The ability to manage your goals is a key part of this shared variation. Procrastination is a complicated problem with links between thoughts, feelings, and actions. A low sense of self-worth, anxiety, and sadness are all linked to it. People who put things off are less interested in the future and see life as a series of accidents. Smartphone addiction makes it hard to sleep, and people who are addicted to them wake up earlier as they age. Perfectionism, the tendency to think badly of results and performance, is a common reason why people put things off. College students often put off doing their work because they don't know how to handle their time well or are distracted. Students put things off because they are afraid of failing, others expect them to be great, and they have important things to do. People who put things off get lower grades, say they are stressed out, and have bad self-health. To stop putting things off, you have to accept that you might fail and set goals that are easier to reach. Chu and Choi did a study in 2005 that found 2 kinds of procrastination, passive and active. Active procrastinators are like non-procrastinators in that they have a better sense of time and control over it. However, both types did about the same in school. The study found a weak negative link between perceived and actual procrastination, but a strong positive link between the number of exercises performed and postponement. More students than anyone else report putting things off, with over 70% saying they do it. Self-regulation techniques, cognitive behavioral therapy, coherence therapy, commitment therapy, and acceptance therapy are some psychological treatments for putting things off. Cognitive behavioral therapy finds ideas that are getting in the way of doing things, fixes them, and then links the fixed thoughts to the actions. Time management is a form of self-regulation that is often used with other methods to deal with mental problems that come up when people put things off. Skills-based approaches help people feel more confident in their abilities by letting them know what their skills are. Some behaviors and habits that can help you stop putting things off are being aware of your habits and thoughts, getting help for problems that are holding you back, evaluating your goals honestly, setting attainable goals, planning your days, changing your environment, self-disciplining, keeping yourself motivated with fun activities, working on problems in small chunks, and not giving up. Important tips include managing your time better, using your power hours, setting attainable goals, focusing on one issue at a time, and enjoying small victories. Having a good work-life mix can also help you get more done. People don't have to always put things off. They can learn new ways to focus and resist their urges. Putting things off can really mess up your daily life and could be a sign of a mental illness, like depression, worry, or a problem with your brain. People who consistently put things off may feel guilty and stressed, which is why they need to get help. When a deadline is far away, procrastinators report less stress and illness, but as the date gets closer, they report more stress, symptoms, and medical visits, which lowers their quality of life and happiness. Putting things off can also make it hard to sleep. Therefore, are you ready to give up procrastination and open the door to a world of opportunity? Do not lose hope or give up the fight. The opportunity will not come knocking next year. Start with that initial step, consider these tips, and get ready for a productive boost. So, dear viewers, don't put off taking control of your time and consequently achieving the things that you want in life any longer.